This is like my favorite part about doing webinars is like the going live part. It makes me feel like we're Hollywood. But I have to remember that I'm just a legal services professional. But guys like me can dream, and that is like probably if there's ever like a silver lining for me from COVID was that like Zoom became this big thing, and we were able to do all these kind of great broadcasts to our clients for CLEs and different entertainment type of programs. And so, today's, super special because not only do we have Mike Cortese here, I just like to pick on Mike. I can't help myself, but, we do have some legal celebrities here and then some speaking slash MBA celebrities with us as well. So like it's super exciting. And the topic that we're going to be covering today is rainmaking, which is i.e. is selling. And for those of you, I know Jeff, Beth, and Colin, and Tom, and Michael for sure, because he was one of the very first clients at Magna Legal Services. I closed him early, Walter, and Jeff. Know that I'm a sales professional, but I'm one of the co-founders at Magna Legal Services. And surprise, surprise, I'm also the guy that heads up the business development, the sales, and the marketing side. So that's been my job, and so to have a CLE that's strictly dedicated, dedicated to business development and staying on the on the ethical side of things, which is super important. I thought it would be great for me to kick off the CLE with just a little infomercial slash commercial before the official CLE starts. I mean, Beth, I can't not say something about Magna Legal Services, right? I've got to give like a little plug. So,
Please.
so for those of you, we've got like over 200 people that have logged in. We're live on YouTube. You can go to my LinkedIn post and you can check us out there as well. But Magna Legal Services, which was founded back in 2007, is an end-to-end litigation consulting and support company. We provide services from discovery to trial, Walter, in case you didn't know. That means we've got you covered from court reporting to medical record retrieval services. Colin, I think you heard that we just acquired Bosco Legal Services, which is the greatest investigative company that we were able to come across. So we do everything from traditional investigative services to social media surveillance. We are a language services company, so como está, we've got you covered for your interpreting, for your depositions, and for your complex documents that you need to get translated, Jeff. We're able to translate those documents for you. We probably could use an interpreter for me because I'm a fast talker. We're an ALM award-winning visual communications company, and we are an ALM award-winning jury consulting company. So if you've watched the TV show Bull, a lot of that is bull that they do on the TV show, but and some of it's not legal. But we do all the legal stuff here, the mock trials, focus groups, and all that cool stuff. So me being the chief salesperson at Magna, I had to at least kind of put that out there as a plug. But what I'm super excited about today, aside from again having Mike Cortese on screen for the 1,000th time, really, you're the best guest. I'm sorry, you're the best guest ever, Mike. You're the best. Is that I met somebody on a wild vacation about a year and a half ago, and I met this guy. I bumped into him 3 times. The first time was at the pool. The second time was at dinner. The third time was on a walking tour. And I knew that there was going to be a connection here. And his name is Walter Bond. And, I didn't realize he's famous. I didn't know that he was an NBA player. And I didn't know that he was actually a Hall of Fame motivational speaker, which is amazing. So we connected. We became friends, fast friends. And I found out he lives down in South Florida where my parents live. And I found out that he does these really awesome keynotes, speeches, and he does leadership meetings for kickoffs. And we had a leadership meeting for our Magna team to kick off 2024. And I invited Walter to speak to my team, and I just got to say I was blown away. I mean, I was blown away. My team was blown away. And I will say this to everybody that's watching and listening, and to all of you: we are having a awesome year at Magna Legal Services. We are working together like we've never worked together before. And I have to give a lot of that credit to Walter because he really opened up our eyes to the teamwork. And so I'm really excited for you all to experience the conversation with Walter today. And I'm really super excited to hear from from Beth, Jeff, Michael, and Tom and Colin about your experiences. I know you've got a lot of real world experiences that Walter's going to really help articulate to the audience the best practices. So Walter is also the co-founder of Peak Performance Huddle and the author of a couple of motivational books. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the baton to you, Walter, and let you get on with the Rainmaking CLE.
Well, Peter, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. And you're right. When you get a chance to play professional sports at the highest level, I was really doing research on how to become elite. And I'm just so thankful that growing up, my parents were teachers and my wife is an entrepreneur. And so we kind of stumbled into this space where I'm really gifted helping people become peak performers. And my wife runs the business and she's a coach as well. So if you really think about it, I see myself as a corporate athlete. And I think when I get done with everyone on this call today, you're going to see yourself as a corporate athlete as well. And so when I made the transition out of sports into business, for me, it was seamless. And within 3 years, my wife and I were able to double our MBA income. So today, let's have a conversation. I wanted to be powerful. I wanted to be resilient. I wanted to be transformational for everyone listening today because really success is really simple. So we're talking about rainmaking. As a former NBA ball player, you got rewarded for scoring buckets. All right. If you can score, you got rewarded. And so when I think about business, the same thing is true. It's simple to me. The first skill set I developed was how to sell. I had never had a real job. I had a wife and 3 kids. I was not an NBA superstar. I had to get to work pretty quickly. I had 12 months to figure it out. And the business guy told me, "You're going to do great in business." And I said, "I am." He goes, "Yeah, man, everybody likes you. You should really focus on selling." And so I developed the skill set of how to sell. So when I think about rainmaking, I don't care if you're a lawyer in your first 3 years, 5 years, your firm might be telling you, "Hey, man, practice good legal work and you'll do great." Like, no, man, that's some bull. You better close some deals, right? You better get some clients. You better score some buckets. That's the way I think about it. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But when I think about rainmaking, it's about making it happen by acquiring clients. All right. So before we go any further, we have a panel of people who make it happen. You can't be on the panel and not be important, right? You can't be asked to be a part of a panel and not to have an experience and a skill set that the marketplace really needs to hear from. So I'm old school. I believe in ladies first. I want everyone to introduce themselves. Let's take about 30 seconds and just introduce yourself and let us know what your superpower is because we have about 15 minutes left and I want this to be transformational. So Beth, who are you? What do you do? And what's your superpower?
Okay, thank you, Walter. I really appreciate being on the panel. I don't know about having a superpower, but I know that I have about 30 plus years of experience. Thank God for brown hair dye, okay? I've been practicing law for over 30 years. We launched our own firm 15 years ago. We've been insurance defense lawyers, so I'm with Rig Fitch Law Group as of 15 years ago. We founded the law firm based on what we were seeing in the industry. So, everyone's in the insurance industry that's on this. And so we saw that there was going to be changes and we wanted change. We wanted to be agile. We wanted to be nimble. So we started with Arizona, which is where, I live today, but we've grown to 4 states. And that's because we provided great services to our clients and we've learned how to market. So I come from 2 perspectives as a founding member of a law firm. And then in 2013, I founded an organization called Ladder Down, which is exclusively to help female lawyers succeed and fulfill their career potential based on leadership, business development, and mentoring. Did I say business development? So we've been direct teaching over 800 women in the law practice how to succeed at business development. And through that process, I've learned a lot. And so that's my superpower, is surrounding myself with other lawyers who are way smarter than me that have given me the tools and the tips to be successful at marketing.
Thank you, Beth. Business development, to me, that's like dribbling a basketball. It's very fundamental to being successful as a lawyer, to being able to develop business. Jeff Davis, man, can I call you JD? Who are you? What do you do? And what's your superpower?
Thank you, Walter. Absolutely, you can call me JD. Good afternoon, everybody. Jeff Davis, Assistant Vice President and Senior Counsel with Lincoln Financial Group. I primarily handle life insurance and annuity litigation at Lincoln. I'm on the enterprise litigation team, and like Beth, I am surrounded by some tremendous colleagues and tremendous lawyers. I've been with Lincoln for about 12 years now. Prior to that, I was in private practice. Built a law practice from scratch. Became a partner after 2 years. Practiced law for 9 years in the private sector. Had a commercial litigation practice, and now I've got the best job in the legal profession. And really glad to be with you guys. And want to say thank you to Magna and Peter Heck for hosting this event today. And glad to be with you, Walter.
And Jeff, you're so smooth. You know, I became a partner, which means you close some deals, which means you acquire some clients. Okay, everybody hear me clearly. You want to be a big time lawyer, you must acquire clients. That's selling, that's business development. It is what it is. Michael Cortese, man, it sounds mafioso, man. You sound like a gangster, man. I used to live in Italy. I played ball over there. Love that last name, Mike Cortese, man.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you.
Man, who are you?
What
Tell
am
us who
I?
you are,
I
what you do,
am
what
just
is
a
your
claim
superpower?
grunt. That's what I am. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a claim grunt. 30 plus years handling excess primary. Been very successful, satisfying, and being around people that have helped shape me in this industry. I'm currently the SVP at Westfield Specialty. Run the excess casualty department. Unfortunately, I am the excess department. I'm only a team of one for now. But with 30 plus years, it is my job. I may not be doing the selling. I'm helping you close. My job is what I've learned the most is it's my word. Us in insurance, we're not stockbrokers, we're not doctors. We make a good living, but our word is priceless. And what I give to all of you that I've known for years, I am what I am, but I'm going to do my best for my people that I am close with. I'm bringing you on board whatever I can do, whether it's at my company with contacts. I will do anything to help fertilize those seeds that you get to grow at any company, from our industry being 3 degrees of separation. We've done this so long. There's been a lot of movement in the industry. With my knowledge and my relationships, I'm here to help all you guys try and sell your services.
The closer, man. I love that title, man. I'm a baseball guy at heart, man. Yeah, you got to have someone come in there and close. Now, when I hear successful, this is what I've learned in sports. This is what I've learned in business. The money you make is how you keep score. The better you are, the more money you make. It is what it is. And so it's not even really about loving money or being drawn to money. Money is how you keep score. And if you're outstanding, your reward will be outstanding. If you're good, your reward will be good. You know, I played 8 years of professional basketball. I had a good reward, right? Michael Jordan, he had a great reward. So I'm not afraid to poke fun at myself. It is what it is. But again, being successful in business is all about keeping score. And the way you keep score is really by understanding your reward is always going to be money. All right. Colin, well, not always money, but you guys get what I'm saying. Colin, man, come on, talk to me, man. I had my favorite uncle named Colin Bond. So you and I are connected at the hip. Who are you? What do you do? And give us your superpower.
So, Colin Height, I am the newly appointed head of litigation for insurance matters at Markel Specialty. So, I oversee all insurance related litigation across the United States, whether it's claims based, extra contractual, or where one of our carriers is being sued for something completely unrelated to a claim or a policy. Just started in that role, but one of my main roles is to help craft litigation management and strategy for the company, and to address social inflation and how to attack that and address it. I guess I was from private practice, just like Jeff. I was at 3 law firms before I went in-house, and 2 attorney general's offices, leading practice groups at the firms. And my superpower, Walter, is strategy. I can see the playing field in litigation and see how to get from A to Z successfully and get the case resolved. And I try to work with our 500 claim professionals to make sure they can do that too.
You know, kind of what I love, man. I've done some corporate retreats, you know, for some large law firms, and just like sports, everyone plays a position. You know, I just find it just interesting that everyone kind of settles into their position in the legal industry, whether they're a defense attorney, a litigator, or whatever the case may be. So I just think it's fascinating how similar, the sports world is to the business world. And I'm thrilled that you seem like you landed in your perfect place, right? So that you can thrive. And so anyone listening today, if you're not completely enamored and love your job, you're not playing the right position. You still should be somewhere in the legal industry. And I give you the example. I came off the bench my whole career. Why? I wanted to start, right? Who didn't want to start? But I didn't have the stamina of the starter. But I'm a catalyst off the bench. And it took me a while to figure out what am I perfect for? And just like a good legal practice, you have to find your perfect place. And I played 8 years of professional basketball, even though I never started in college. That's incredible, right? If you really think about it. But it really taught me the power of niching. So before we give an intro to our last panelist, I want everyone to take a quick moment and just say to yourself, you know what? Am I in my perfect place in the legal industry? Because if you're not in your perfect place, you're not happy, you're not thriving, and you feel uneasy and uncomfortable. Don't you quit until you get into your perfect place within the legal industry. Speaking of perfect, we have a perfect tie, we have a perfect haircut, we have the perfect blinds in the back. Tom Mannion, let us know who you are, what you do, and what's your superpower.
Well, thank you, Walter. And I'm glad you talk about the perfect haircut. Like Beth, I don't need brown hair dye. I think any hair is good hair. But I've been in this industry for over 30 years, like most of us, and I truly feel privileged to be with this group of people. We have some phenomenal people here, and it's been a good chance to get to know you too, Walter. When I was a young lawyer, one of the senior partners where I was at was talking to someone, and this person said, I've been marketing these people for 3 years and I didn't have a case. And he shook his head and he said, you have it all wrong. You're not marketing to get cases. You're marketing to build relationships and build trust. The cases will come if you do that. Otherwise, he said, you're essentially asking for a quid pro quo. What are you saying? If I take you golfing, you're going to give me a case? No. Get to know these people. What do they need? What do they want? How can you help them? Get to know them, get them to trust you. And I think, talking about being in the courtroom is one thing. And I think that people have dealt with me, know what I can do there. But as far as what this conference is about, I think it's about relationships. And, I've used that. I started at a insurance defense firm, then started my own Sutter, O'Connell, Mannion with some others. We grew from 7 lawyers to 40 and a couple. Then I started my own, Mannion and Gray, in 2005. And with 3 people, and we grew it to offices in 5 states. And then in 2016, I joined Louis Brisbois, who's national. And I've loved every bit of it. And really getting to know people and the relationships are the best.
And growing it means you made it rain. And growing it means you close some deals, right? And so if you really think about it, I just did a sales training for a company, and I had every sales rep let me know how many contacts they had in their phone. Let's do it right now. Go in the chat and put how many contacts you have in your phone. We got 600 contacts. We have 500 contacts. I put my number in and dwarfed everybody. So right now, if you're in close to your phone, just look at your phone and figure out how many contacts you have. Because I believe you're in the people business. Yeah, you're a lawyer. Oh, you're in the people business. Well, I'm a vendor. Nope, nope, nope. You're in the people business. Successful people know a lot of people. So right now, just look at your phone and ask yourself, well, how many contacts do I actually have? 400. Okay, give me some more. Come on, give me some more. How many contacts do you have in your iPhone? I know it's right there next to you. Nobody goes anywhere. There we go. 400, 400. Whoa, 4,800. Love it. Okay, I love it. 1,400 contacts. This is a good exercise. This is a good, keep going, keep going. I looked at my phone. I had over 5,000 contacts in my phone. So as of right now, I'm winning. Yeah, I'm winning. If there's a trophy to give out, I get the gold medal today. And here's what I learned a long time ago. Successful people know a lot of people. Successful people know a lot of people. If you want to be a big-time lawyer, make a whole lot of money, you better up your contacts. Successful people know a lot of people. If you went through my contact list, you would see some names like, is that really Ted Koppel's cell phone? Yes, it is. Is that really Bill Walton? Yes, it is. It's incredible. But I made a decision a long time ago to get into the people business. And let me tell you something. It's made my business development very, very easy. Up your contacts in your phone, lawyers, legal professionals, or wherever you fall in this industry. It will have a huge impact on you making it rain, because that's what it's all about. Listen, we have a poll that we need to get to right now. Make sure that you take the minute or two it takes to answer the question in the poll. This is very important to your experience today, and I'm going to answer it myself. All right. Oh, I can't vote. All right, I want to be a participant, right? I'm in class, I want to be a good student. Okay, let's go to our PowerPoint presentation now that we've done our introductions. And I want to make sure that we cover everything in our last 40 minutes to give everyone some value. And we're gonna advance the screen. We don't need to see Peter anymore, man. We saw him already. Let's get right into the meat. We did the panels, we did the introductions. Here we're going to cover today. We're going to cover social media marketing. Let me say it again, social media marketing. I know we have lawyers and professionals of all ages. Your age has a huge impact on how you see social media marketing. And we don't have a lot of time to unpack that, right? But this is a big conversation. Rules for professional conduct, how you behave, how you act in the courtroom, how you act in your firm, how you act on airplanes, right? Don't think people aren't watching you, right? Do's and don'ts for marketing to corporate counsel and insurance clients, okay? All right, we got 1,100. I see you, Cyrus. I see you still. You don't have 5,000. I'm the winner. I'm an athlete. Love to compete. I'm number one. I won. Okay, how to research and handle potential conflicts of interest. And finally, we're going to close out today talking about how to build a legacy. All right, let's get to this next slide. Social media, okay? LinkedIn. Beth, we're coming to you first. You know, some people think LinkedIn is the best place for the business industry. Let's talk about it. Give us your spiel on how you approach and your thoughts around social media marketing.
Well, I think the most important thing is to first understand principles of marketing. And so, you know, what I like about what Colin said is about strategy. So you have to first have a strategy for marketing in general, and then you need to apply that strategy to social media. So identifying which social media sources are most important. And then I think the other foundational principle that you need to be really thinking about when we're talking about social media marketing is there are really 3 steps. We are in a people business. I say my hobby is people. I love people. I think people are super interesting. Be, as Ted Lasso says, be curious, not judgmental. So I think foundationally, be curious. And the 3 steps are really knowing you, liking you, but then the big step for lawyers is trusting you. You may like me, you may want to go out to dinner with me, you may like my social media posts, but if you don't trust me, you're not going to hire me. And so when you're looking at social media, you need to be filtering it through not just knowability and likability, but are you establishing that you're trustworthy? And I think there are broccoli and candy. So let's talk about broccoli and candy. And I really do focus on LinkedIn. I mean, I was a very early adopter of Facebook. So I just want to comment a little bit on Facebook. Facebook was a great tool way back in the day when it first landed and when there were 40 million people adding to it. But what has happened with Facebook it's a wonderful tool for plaintiffs' attorneys. So, but as defense attorneys, what I've seen happen is that defense attorneys forget that they have clients on their Facebook and they're posting things that might undermine their trust and credibility or might paint them in a light that you may not want to be. So the other foundational principle is your perception is your reality, but is your perception of yourself the reality? And it's perception versus projection. So social media is all about projecting, but you want to be authentic. You want to be you. So don't pretend to be somebody else because you're going to appear inauthentic at some point. So if you're not sure what you're projecting, you should test it out with people before you even start using social media. Know who you are, be authentic to yourself, and then think about how can I intentionally develop my brand, who I am, and develop those know, like, and trust the steps. So let's talk about broccoli and candy. So there are two, there's your own personal brand, and then there's the brand of your firm. And so it's very important to make a distinction when you're looking at what are you doing on social media. So I'm just going to focus on LinkedIn. It is the most powerful social media tool for the defense bar. And if you get on there, if you're not on it, you need to get on right away and start looking at it. When you're looking at LinkedIn, it's about two things. It's about, I really like this. It's about getting attention, but more importantly, it's about paying attention. And so if you're paying attention to what others are posting, and particularly those who are a prospective client or your actual client, and paying attention to what they're posting, you're going to gain information, because the goal is to develop personal relationships and professional relationships with your client. Is you need to understand what their pressure points are. You need to understand how you can bring value add. So LinkedIn, again, it is about getting attention, but it's also about paying attention. And that's just by join, follow. So on LinkedIn, follow all the companies that you're interested in working for or doing work for. Follow anyone that you're interacting with. Immediately try to link in with them, and so that you can take in the information, so that you're paying attention. So then in terms of projecting your brand, there are two ways. There's your firm's brand and your own way. So let's talk about broccoli and candy. So broccoli, actually I want to reverse it. Let's talk about candy. So the reason we're using the terms candy is sticky. So you want your brand to be sticky. And so Walter, I really, you said you are a corporate athlete. That is a sticky statement. You want to develop some facts about you, your fun facts, your authentic facts about you. So when you say it, it's sticky. When you put it on LinkedIn, people remember it when they walk away. Because if you look at LinkedIn, there's lots of photographs of many people at conferences, at doing all kinds of things. But conferences aren't sticky. Oh, there's someone else at a conference. So what? It's forgotten like this. But if you put something up that's sticky, and one of the things that's been sticky for me is I grew up on a ranch. I'm a good old cowgirl. I have grit. And so, people are really interested in my background because that's sticky. And let me say, first of all, it is not as fun as you might think it is. But figure out who you are so that you're sticky. And that's a candy, developing your brand. Then broccoli is really more focused on the more deeper types of things like formal content. This is where you establish trust, white papers, successes, wins, court wins, those types of things that show that you're experts in a particular area, and also that you have not just experts, but you have expertise and you're successful. And so those are white papers. Those are posting about your successes. And when you have a success on LinkedIn, you can put a small piece on it, but then you're going to link it to your website where you're going to have a more detail, and you're going to constantly remind about your successes and cutting edge topics that are of interest, because now you've listened to what is the pressure points for your clients. And so now you can put out, here's the things that might address those in a meaningful way. So that's what broccoli is. So you should have candy and broccoli. And direct messaging. Brevity is key. You need to be very careful. Direct messaging can be very annoying, and do not brag and do not ask directly for business. That's a surefire way for you to be ignored. And that is not what you're trying to do. You're trying to build rapport. You're trying to be relational. And really, to troll or not to troll, right? Again, liking certain things are great. Be careful what you're posting. I've noticed lately, for example, on LinkedIn, that there is more and more political posts, and we know that's divisive. So if you're liking divisive posts, if you're commenting on divisive posts, that's going to be recognized, and you may actually be chasing away some of your potential clients or actual clients. So be very, very careful what you're liking, because you don't want to be associated with divisive. You don't want to be associated with racial, gender slurs. You have to be really careful. What may be funny to you may not be funny to your clients. So be very judicious in what you're doing. And then, I just want to talk about overexposure, because there is a thought that you're never overexposed. But I think you have to be careful about daily posting of the same thing over and over and over, or similar things over and over, because people just won't pay attention anymore if you're overexposing yourself. So again, everything about social marketing and marketing in general should be intentional. And there are some really great bells and whistles on LinkedIn. The Premier membership, I really encourage you to do that. It gives you additional information. I like boosting. So, I'm going to use Boost for Ladder Down, which is, use videos. I mean, Peter and Magna, thank you so much for donating your time and effort towards a sizzle reel that we're going to put up for Ladder Down, which is a pretty slick piece. So that gets attention. So there's lots of things that you can use to boost your exposure on LinkedIn. And those are some of the examples.
Beth, thank you. And let me say this. What a wonderful job of framing it up. And I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every single day. In fact, we coach people on how to build their brand on LinkedIn. And I had one client named Bill Rezick. He heard me speak at a conference. He signed up for a coaching program. And I told him, man, if you stay with me for 12 months, I'm going to teach you how to build your brand on LinkedIn. Long story short, in 12 months, he followed directions now. Within 12 months, he doubled his salary, got hired away by a firm, and he became an executive and hired me to come and speak for this new firm. So that was crazy for me that we helped him build such a brand that he was able to be a leader. And he, as a thank you, hired me to come speak for his firm right there in Minneapolis at US Bank Stadium. So LinkedIn, I taught him how to really use LinkedIn. It's a powerful network. We can't buy from you if we don't know you. If I don't know you, I can't buy from you, right? So you have to be able to market and build your brand. When you market and build your brand, selling is easier. Or should I say business development is selling is a bad word. Business development is easier when people know who you are. So if I don't know you, I can't buy from you. LinkedIn is powerful. Let's go to the next slide because I want to really make sure we get everyone a chance to really talk about all of these areas that are powerful. So now, my man Tom, come on into the screen. Let's talk about the rules of professional conduct. My mother was a kindergarten teacher. How you behaved in my house was everything when your mom teaches kindergarten. So I was conditioned at a young age just to act right. But what's your lens on professional conduct and what kind of impact can that have on someone's career?
Well, first of all, I think the best rule to remember is if it feels wrong, it probably is wrong. If it doesn't feel right to you, what you're doing, probably take a second look and reconsider. I think most of the people on this probably don't even need to talk about this because they don't fall into these lines. I think the biggest thing for marketing and rainmaking when it's a law firm to an insurance company or a corporation or somebody is quid pro quo. We've heard a lot about that. And it's not just the lawyer offering things. There's a lot of times, I just talked to a senior vice president at a carrier I won't tell you today who said that they started seeing that a lot of cases were being sent to one person at one firm in one venue. And it came to be that it was the claims person who was actually asking for things. And it put the defense firm in a precarious position. But I've seen it the other way where people are offering, go to my vacation home, go do this, go do that. That's not why people give cases, except for people who are in it for the wrong reasons. And I think that's the number one thing, but we all know that. And I don't think we all violate that. I think another thing though, too, Walter, is, You can't guarantee results, and you can't misrepresent who you are and what your expertise is. You know, I was a young lawyer when I got a phone call out of the blue, second-year lawyer, from somebody at an insurance company. It's a real estate matter. I'd never handled a real estate case in my life, but apparently the managing partner thought I could. And she said, "Hey, this is so-and-so. I'm so glad to meet you. Your managing partner tells me you're the real estate expert at your firm." And I'm like, you know, I'm getting on a call with the court right now. I have to call you right back. And I went and talked to the managing partner. What are you talking about? Now, to me, that's obviously an ethical no-no. He was trying to get the case, and he said, we have someone in-house who can do that. Or another issue is I've heard lawyers say, oh, that judge, I know that judge. I could talk to him. Don't worry about it. You know, or I know that plaintiff's lawyer. He owes me a favor. I can get this case probably cheaper than you think. You know, those are the types of things that if it feels wrong, if it is the appearance of impropriety, it probably is. But again, you know, the people certainly on this panel, we don't need to tell any of this to, and probably most of the people on this. But, you know, I put this back out to Michael and Colin and some of the others to, have you had a time where you felt, hey, you know, this lawyer's crossing the line, and how do you deal with it?
Well, I think the biggest thing that people need to be mindful of, until the last 8 months ago, I oversaw all conflict request waivers for Markel. And it continues to shock me how many people that are on our panels sue us. And we get oh, it slipped through the conflict system. Oh, you know, we put it in a certain way that the system didn't catch it. You know, it seems to Tom's point, that is so, you know, ethics 101, but yet we have law firms that, you know, continue to sue us, and not just sue us, you know, for coverage, but sue us for bad faith or extra contractual, which, you know, there's nothing quicker to get you knocked off a panel and be put on kind of the quote, you know, naughty list, is to sue us for bad faith, because all bad faith cases come to the Associate General Counsel, which there's few of us, so we know who the bad actors are. And it just, you know, to Beth's point, you're not trusted then. You don't have trust. If you can't even handle your conflict system and not sue one of your principal clients, how do I trust you to handle the case from A to Z if you couldn't even get the conflicts right? And I raise a lot, and we've actually sent it to many of the people on this call that are on our panels. You know, we consider business conflicts to be as important as ethical conflicts.
It's
Yes.
amazing how many people will sit there and say, well, it's a different division. You know, you're in excess. That's a financial lines claim. It's like, again, as you just said, it's the ethical thing. You should have common sense to know that is not correct. And it's like, how badly do you want your business that it's just wrong? It just smells wrong, but it happens a lot.
It happens a lot. I mean, and especially, you know, somebody represents Evanston Insurance Company, one of our main carriers. So they think, well, I don't see Markel Insurance Company in the ethics system, conflict system, so we can go through. So we've had to tell firms, if you represent one carrier for Markel, you represent all of our carriers. But I've even said, you know, it's bad form to send us a subpoena ducis tecum without not telling us it's coming. Right? I don't want to be surprised. I don't want to know why is one of our main firms sending us, you know, representing another carrier and sending us a subpoena and not telling us it's coming. And what if I want to quash it? Now we are in an adversarial position and we do have an ethical conflict. So, you know, you got to be very pragmatic about the business relation. There, I'm so good that they stopped the recording because I'm giving all the secrets.
Well, you know, I mean, this is almost a perfect time for a good story. You know, I'm a sucker for a good story. Does anyone have a story withholding firms' names and lawyers' names that could represent what you don't do as a no-no, just so our listeners can have a visual? Because I'm an aggressive guy by nature, but I don't want to get in trouble either, right? Does anyone have a story that they want to share that really frames up what we should do, what we shouldn't do, just so everyone leaves today and can go to work and work hard and be aggressive without fear of crossing the line?
Yeah, someone walked in, an old school adjuster who was one of these guys that was like very round robin, didn't want to be
No, we lost him.
I think we lost him, man. That sounded like a good story too, man. Come on
He's
back
going right.
in.
Got thrown
Colin, Jeff,
out. Got thrown
no, here
out.
he is, man.
I
Go
got
finish your
taken out.
story, man. You had us on the edge of our seats. Go ahead.
Walter, the other family got to him.
Exactly.
The other Cortese.
I dodged
Where's
the hit.
Anthony?
Somebody pulled his microphone. Tell us the story, Mike. It sounded good, man.
The person had come in and literally the first thing he said to this old school adjuster was, "Hey man, I'm very friendly with the two executive VPs and they said I should come talk to you." And he was like, "I'm never gonna." So it's not like, don't oversell it. Don't do these things. You're like, oh no, I don't want to be involved in that, because it's like, stand on your merits. Say, hey, I'm so and so. I'm Beth Fitch. I'm in Arizona. Love for you to give me a chance if something happens. But to sit there and say, I know these people, that's why I'm coming to see you. You made someone look puny. And then that old Jeremiah commercial, they tell two friends, they tell two friends, so on, so on, and so on. It dooms you going forward.
Well,
And
here's
Michael,
the-
you often find out they actually don't know that person that well. They're just name dropping.
Well, we get that. I used to get that a lot in the conflicts. I didn't make the decision. The claim product leader made the decision. And if they said, no, we're not going to waive the conflict here, I know of two instances where, about 5 hours later, Nick Conca, the former chief claims officer, is calling me saying, I understand this firm is looking for a waiver. Why aren't you giving them a waiver? And we want you to potentially give them a waiver. Okay, well, great. The firm got the case. Congratulations. You won't get any more cases when I have control of the situation, because again, to Beth's point, do I trust you? Do I trust you? If you're going to pull a power play on me, you'll get the case and you may get a few of those billables for that case, but I don't trust you anymore. Because if you're going to go behind my back and make me, to Tom's point, look bad, look small, look like you've emasculated me because I have no authority, you're not going to get the work in the future because I don't really trust you. If something else starts going sideways, are you going to make me look bad and throw me under the bus to save yourself? So, you've got to see the big picture. It's not just getting that case, it's getting that relationship and having that relationship. And it's the best point. That's built on likability and trust.
Colin, can I
think-
ask you a question though?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. So you mentioned Evanston and Markel, and with so many companies merging, we sometimes don't know whether you're related. And so my question is, because I've had a colleague of mine where this happened, he didn't know they were related. So the question is, if you do that, realize that, oh, these are related clients, I'm going to come to you and say, hey, we made a mistake. This is trying to be transparent. So is that the way you want that approach? We made a mistake. We didn't know the companies were related and we're not taking the case. Does that help to build that relational trust bridge, or is it over because we didn't get the conflict checked?
In my view, it helps. Look, I mean, I worked at McGuire Woods. I was a partner at McGuire Woods, 1,000 attorneys. I mean, things can get through the conflict system, especially, as you all know, how you enter it into the conflict system can get it cleared through the conflict system intentionally. So yes, look, if I trust you, I like you, and I want to keep working with you, I'm not going to let that become a relationship breaker. We're not going to have a divorce because one hiccup happened. It's the ones that get sneaky. It's the ones that try to make it our fault. I mean, I've tried to help the firm. So at least 3 times in the last 18 months, I have had an alert sent to all panel counsel listing all of the firms you should consider for conflict purposes and what our expectations are. It's a two-way street. And if we're not helping you help us, we're doing ourselves a disservice. So yes, I mean, honesty is always going to help, and it would never be a deal breaker because somebody, let it slip through. Now it's when they call and try to shade it a little bit that then I begin to lose the confidence that they're being honest with us. But yeah, I think that's not ever going to be, horrible. at all. I mean, honesty will always get you and inure you into our good benefit and good stead, as opposed to, losing the trust. We actually can gain the trust that, you've been frank with us, and it was an oversight. And as long as there's really no harm, no foul, and it's caught early enough, I don't think it would ever be a problem.
Well, we all can agree that we all live by our reputation. And in a very competitive environment, if I have choices between lawyer A, B, or C, typically I'm going to choose the lawyer that's least risky or least controversial or just comes off cleaner, right? I got my own issue. I don't want to deal with my issue and your baggage, right? So I think that as we transition to this next slide, I think it's very important that we understand the do's and don'ts. And so I want you guys to jump in like we've been doing and really give some insight to all of our listeners about the do's and don'ts. And while we do that, I think we have another poll coming to make sure that we're compliant with our CLE credits. Make sure you get in here and answer this poll. Again, I feel left out. I can't answer the poll, and I like to participate. Make sure you respond because that's very important to this situation. Okay, the first do or don't. What should we do in terms of marketing, and what shouldn't we do? Network. Hey, we talked about it, whether it's virtual on LinkedIn, whether it's face-to-face, Chamber of Commerce, that is smart. Successful people know a lot of people. I have 5,000 contacts. I'm bragging. Yeah, that's right. I'm bragging. I won today. I think I won today. Why? Because I've always been in the people business, and a business got taught me, first business lesson I learned, that we're in the people business. And I'm so thankful that I was able to transition out of sports by merely getting out of basketball and getting into the people business. Okay. Here's what we don't do: expect others to build the relationships. Some people think, oh, I'm shy and quiet and introverted. Believe in that. You're not quiet at home, right? A quiet person is not quiet at home. Shy and introverted is an excuse for someone not being comfortable or confident in public. But if you're going to be an attorney and successful in business, successful people know a lot of people. Okay, get your confidence up. If I didn't learn anything from playing professional sports, you have to believe. People say, "Well, you played against Michael Jordan." Absolutely. What was it like? Well, I think Michael Jordan is the greatest ever. But what was it like? He tried to kick his butt. If I don't think that way, am I qualified to play in the NBA? Okay. If you're in a briefing, or you're in a courtroom, or you're in some litigation and you're cowering to another attorney, come on. You're never going to win if you are convinced yourself this other attorney or this other firm is better than us. You're defeated from the beginning. There's something called the imposter syndrome. You cannot outproduce your self-image. In our coaching program, we talk about the shark mindset. Sharks are the apex predator in the ocean because of how they think. Okay, get your mindset tight. All right, what's next? Let's get through these because we got about 10 more minutes. Build relationships and don't expect quick results. Anybody got some feedback on that? Take your time, build relationships. It's not about transactions, it's about relationships. Beth, I want you to chime in on that because women are kind of winning the business development game because they tend to care a little bit more than most guys. Most guys get focused on what they want and sometimes forget to actually take the time to build a relationship.
So let me just back up and talk about the imposter syndrome, since we're talking about women and being not feeling confident, because that has been throughout the years I've been running Ladder Down. That is something that comes up always, and I think it ties in together. So the thing we say is fake it till you make it. And that doesn't mean to be inauthentic, but behavior follows belief, and belief follows behavior. And so you said it, believe, but if you don't believe, then behave like you do. And that does change your belief system about yourself. So you got to change the tape in your head. So fake it till you make it. And there is some natural just empathy that tends to flow through most women. And through all these years, I find empathy and empathetic listening. And listening is far more important than bragging. Listen to understand what is the needs of the client instead of you trying to tell them how great you are. I really believe there's listening into a relationship to build that trust relationship that's so important for developing clients.
I think that's great.
Some
But
people
a lot
think
of problems you have is that you always sit there and say, use this. I think because we all are trying to get our edge word in. We're trying to get our business. I want the business. Again, sometimes you just got to stand back and listen and address that. It's not your narrative. Answer the question or look and see what's going on and just listen and then prepare your answer. which I think is a lost art these days.
Okay, perfect, man. Love it, love it, love it. Let's go to the next do. What should we be doing? I like to execute. You know, our whole mantra at our company is think, execute, dominate, right? So this is what we should be executing. Building trust. Love it. You know, if I'm going to choose a lawyer or a law firm to represent me or a vendor in the legal industry, I have to be able to trust you, right? And so building trust is important. Being greedy. I mean, I mean, you guys help me understand this term, and I don't want to offend anybody. The ambulance chasing, negative term. I mean, how that term get some traction in the whole legal industry? But that sounds greedy. I know that's unfair to a lot of lawyers that operate in that place, but I think it's important to not focus on the money. And let me remind you guys of something. And I do this keynote a lot. My first NBA check, I did not cash for 6 weeks. I literally forgot you got paid to play in the NBA. My whole goal, I just wanted to play with the best in the world, and I forgot that money was a reward. And I'm going to say that again. If you're outstanding as a lawyer, your money will be the reward. So don't focus on the money. Focus on being outstanding. I was dating my wife at the time. She saw the check, and she said, I don't mean getting to get into your business, but is that your paycheck right there? I said, yeah, I'm going to get one of those every 2 weeks. She says, you are? Yep, isn't that crazy? Play for free, but I'm going to get that same check every 2 weeks. Guys, I don't know what happened. We were married 6 months later. And now we've been married 31 years. All right, let's go to the next one. What's the next do? I want to try and get through all of these, except communicate, right? Being a great communicator. I think there's 4 ways to communicate. I don't have time to teach it today. You should not make others chase you for information. You know, a good friend of mine, Saya Barnes, is the president-elect of the Florida Bar Association, an incredibly successful lawyer based right here in South Florida. But when I email her, she emails right back. And I just find that fascinating, right? She's the president-elect of the Bar of Florida, which is a huge state, a big-time lawyer, big-time partner. She has commercials on TV. But when I email her, she emails me right back, and she doesn't get anything from me. I'm not a client. I'm not a prospect. I'm just a friend. So it really shows me that top professionals are great communicators, and they're not picking or choosing who they talk to. Or they're not picking or choosing who they respond to. Everyone you meet is going to have 500 people in their phone. I'm going to say it one more time. Everybody you meet is not going to have 5,000. Nah. But about everybody you meet, if we look at the numbers, the average number was what? Anywhere from 400 to 600. So don't communicate with people, connect. Don't communicate with people, connect. Because if you connect with them, and if they like you, know you, and trust you, they're going to give you access to their 600 people. They might give you access to their 1,200 people. So please don't be that grubby person who's looking for a transaction. Take your time and build relationships. How about partnerships? How about other firms? You guys speak to that. Anybody have a great story about creating a partnership?
Walter, I'll jump in on that.
Yeah, love it, Jeff.
So the best law firms that we work for, there is a natural partnership there. I remember our SVP head of litigation described our premier partner law firm as like a warm blanket. You know, you trust them, they make you feel good. They know you've got internal clients, and they're going to help you look good in front of those clients. The converse of that, some of these don'ts that we've seen here, don't be greedy and name drop upper level execs. We've touched on this a little bit, but as we were preparing for this CLE, one of my colleagues reminded me, we had a law firm that we were working with when I arrived at Lincoln. And one of the lawyers was walking through our halls. He was in for a deposition, and he pops in to one of my colleagues' offices and says, look at all these files. Surely you've got a couple of these files from me. And that was just a little off-putting, a little greedy. You're already getting some of our work, and here you are kind of asking for more. And that same person went on to drop the name of a C-suite level executive. Now that you've demonstrated some greediness, and now we're calling into trust. Like, are you going to impact our relationship and potentially make me look bad in front of a C-suite level executive? So these do's and don'ts are very relevant, very, very on point here.
Well, let's unpack something a little bit more, because I need some help on this. I need some clarity, because I have a lot of friends that are very popular, and maybe I'm guilty of name dropping unknowingly. Let's talk about that a little bit more. What is the negative impact of talking about? I mean, I played in NBA. Right? So I have a teammate named John Stockton. If I talk about Stockton and my name dropping, he's my teammate. If I talk about Karl Malone and my name dropping, he's my teammate. If I talk about Bill Walton or Ted Koppel, I mean, these are some people I met through the years, through my travels. Unpack that more for me or any other lawyer or legal professional who just happens to have, I live in a neighborhood with 6 billionaires, right? And so these are my friends now. So help unpack that when you're just talking about your friends and really name dropping. I need differentiation.
But Walter, those aren't our supervisors. That's, I think, what we're really talking about.
Exactly right, Tom. I mean, the difference there is those are your friends, those are your teammates. This name drop upper level execs, it's almost like a subtle threat. Like, hey, if you don't hire me, I'm gonna go to somebody in your upline and mention that you haven't hired me, and there's going to be recourse for that. That's not
Okay,
cool,
so
Walter. That's a very different scenario.
okay, so I get it. Thank you for that clarity. So we're talking about name dropping for leverage
Correct.
versus name dropping maybe for credibility or just because you just know the person, right? Because,
Correct.
for example, John Stockton's from Spokane, Washington. If I meet someone from Spokane, I'm naturally going to say, man, my buddy is from Spokane. Not to, it's just natural. I would do that for anybody, I mean, I would do that for you guys today because you're my friends. All right, let's keep it going. But partnerships are very important. I believe partnerships are explosive in our sales training. We teach how to create partnerships. And I believe partnerships, if you want to explode your law firm or your own career as an attorney, from my own experience, partnerships are literally explosive. All right. I wish I had more time to teach that. Okay.
Walter, can I add one? Can I add one thing?
Yes, sir.
Don't badmouth other law firms or lawyers. Just don't do it.
Tom, let me tell you something. I agree 100%. And I'm going to give you this analogy. When I met my wife, she had a boyfriend. I didn't have to badmouth him. All I had to do was show what I offered, showed my benefits, and she made her choice. And so I think when you do badmouth other firms or other lawyers, it really shows insecurity. It's really a sign of weakness. I think it's important to be confident, not arrogant. But you know what? If you have the goods, man, there's nothing wrong with you promoting yourself, but to badmouth anybody else just to improve your position, I do think is a huge no. Think it's a legacy buster. I think it really shows your own internal insecurities. Okay, let's move on. Deliver great work product and great results. Okay, let's have this conversation because I'm learning. We're doing sales trainings for law firms now, and so it's been fun because I do so many different verticals. I love learning. How about that firm? Okay, that tells that young lawyer, hey, just practice good legal work. Don't worry about clients. Just be a good attorney. Is that the right thing to tell a young lawyer when they want to be a partner?
Only if you want them to fail and leave your firm.
Come on, Colin, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. I got a buddy of mine who was the general counsel for the NCAA. His name is Donald Remy, a good buddy of mine. He was a buyer. He had a $20 million budget, and now he mentors young attorneys. And so many young attorneys at certain size firms are being taught, just practice good legal work. And they're once, and they don't, they're great. So, Colin, unpack that a little bit more, just in case we have someone who needs that information today.
So, my view, look, delivering great work product and great results, it gets you a seat at the table. It gets you an invitation. It ensures you don't get nixed from consideration, but it is not the deal breaker on hiring a law firm. In fact, it just, like I say, it kind of gets you in the door and gives you credibility. Making me chase you for information, you can win the motion, you can win the case, but if you have been a pain in my rear for 18 months or 24 months, I can find another firm that will give me great results, but will they make my life a little easier? And I think, the younger attorneys need to understand that, law firms are a pyramid. It's a pyramid scheme to some degree, and you have to build it up. And at some point, if you want to get to the top, you want those below you bringing in the revenue. And if you're just doing great results, that's just one factor of all these factors you've listed there, and it's at the bottom, probably where it should be. That's just gets you in the door. It's like when I was up for a federal judgeship, the senators told me getting the endorsements of the bar associations just ensures we'll consider you. It doesn't get you the job. It didn't get me the job that the Virginia bar ranked me as the most qualified. It simply kept me from getting knocked out. And that's what great work and great results do. They get you in the game, but they are not the number one chip to get you the work.
Can I
Well,
just
you know
comment
that.
on that
Go ahead.
too, and just say that as I think you make a really good point. And what is a great result? Because every insurance carrier has different metrics. And if you don't know what the pressure points are for the client you're serving, then that great result, it may not be a great result. I mean, what's driving a lot of insurance carriers are LAE. And if you don't understand that, you're, I'm going to win, 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 and you run up hundreds of thousands of dollars and then cave, which I understand it happens all the time. That is not a great result. And so
The
I think
result
that's
sometimes is not
really
measured
important under defining that with your own client. What is a
It's not
great
the result is that it's just because, I mean, a verdict is a verdict. And I think a lot of times we've gone away from that nature of, look, I didn't get crushed. And you have to stand your ground at some points and say, you change the narrative of a reputation. Everybody knows they're going to do X, but the demand could be 15 million. And yeah, you got hit for 11. You didn't pay him his 15. You made him earn it. More than likely, you showed yourself that you got some gravitas to it. And as you said, Beth, the worst thing possible, if nothing has changed, why are you caving at this point in time? We all agree the partnership of, look, we got some warts. The minute you identify that and say, hey, as long as we're all on the same page, I'm ready to go charge. I'm going. But it's becoming a rarity these days. And a lot of it is from us on the carrier side because you're business people. It's what have you done for me lately business in some carriers because the inexperience at the top, hey, sometimes you got to roll it. And if we could predict that, we'd be all in Vegas or down at Walter's place in South Florida, not worrying about seminars. So
It's a nice casino right here called Hard Rock Cafe. But you know, Michael, you make a great point that it's business, right? And so we're talking about being a rainmaker. And I think we have to understand what's important if we're going to be successful in the legal industry and not forget it's a business. One of my good buddies, a guy named Will Studi, he just won Litigator of the Year. And we were sitting down talking one night. He's a good friend of mine. And he told me his first law firm in Minneapolis when he graduated out of law school from Augsburg or William and Mitchell, one of the small schools over in St. Paul, Minnesota, they took their young lawyers through a sales training. And he told me that, you know what, I don't remember the sales training, but I do remember it gave me the mentality that I need to go and get clients. And he believes that played a major role in him being a big time lawyer and being sought after from these big firms because he's just so successful. And he credits, not even remember what he learned in the sales training, but it really framed his mentality at the very beginning of his career. And so as a young lawyer, the more I get exposed, and Peter, thank you again for this opportunity. I've been around so many lawyers and so many firms. I get it now. I get it. You know, our sales training called Shark Mindset Selling is perfect for that young attorney who wants to be a partner one day, or that young attorney or that attorney who's been around for a while, frustrated they're not a partner. They've been practicing good legal work for a long time, kind of bought the okie doke, right? Be a good lawyer, you'll be okay. Listen, I have an attorney right here in my neighborhood whose daughter was a lawyer at a firm, and they just in New York City, and they told her just practice good law. And the dad was like, that's some BS. You better get some clients. No, no, dad. No, no, no. I'm just going to listen. That's BS, honey. Go get some clients. No, dad. No, dad. About 3 to 5 years in, she finally listened to dad and she began to go get her own clients. And now she's a partner at some law firm in New York in her 30s, which I've heard is unheard of to become a partner in a big firm in New York in your 30s. Luckily, she had a father who was a big time attorney who could get in her head and say, look, this is business. It's great to be a great lawyer, but there's nothing more important than you making it rain. And that's what we're here today. There's nothing more important than you understanding the business of selling and marketing. I'm a former NBA ball player, guys. If I can't get the ball in the hole, I don't play in NBA. You can't fool myself. Well, just play good defense. No, no, okay. I'll play good defense, but I got to get the ball in the hole. Well, just be a great teammate. I'll be a great teammate. But no, no, no. If I want to play in the NBA, I have to score buckets, right? And I knew that. And I embraced it. So attorneys, you got to make it rain. And that's what we're here today. Let's keep going because I want to go
Walter,
about.
I'd like to say one thing to what you said about what I see it as protectionism. If you have a partner telling a young lawyer you only have to worry about being a good lawyer, they're protectionists. You know, they're here trying to protect their clients, not bringing this person along. And I strongly believe that Michael, Colin, Jeff, those guys, you can see when a lawyer's like that, and I'm not sure it's well taken. What do you do when you see one of the partners at a firm is like that and you're not really meeting as other people? And I think ultimately it comes back to bite you if you're a protectionist.
And Tom, let me tell you a story. And I'm not going to say any names because this legal industry is small. I've had two big time attorneys, big time, tell me that, man, they almost quit and they were very frustrated until one lawyer grabbed them and said, hey, let's go to lunch. Let's go have a cocktail. Let me teach you what's really going on. And what's going to happen with your legacy if you're that senior attorney that's not really mentoring that young attorney the right way? They remember, right? They remember. And your legacy to me is way more important than you trying to monopolize some young lawyers to be grunts. You know, we have an AI thing going on right now, and the legal industry is taking, you know, a little bit of a shift with AI, but your legacy is important. I mean, we remember those bad teachers at our elementary school. We remember those bad kids in elementary, high school, middle school. We remember. And so don't think you're going to be able to be disingenuous or selfish, live a life of no integrity and think all the lawyers don't remember. Your legacy's at stake. So we talk about the do's, do the do's. We talk about the don'ts, don't do the don'ts. There's never the right time to do the right thing. Let me rephrase that. There's never a wrong time. There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. And I don't care how much money is at stake. Let's get through these because I promise we'll be about 5 more minutes.
I just want to comment on what you said though, which is if any young lawyers take anything from what I have to say, here's the one thing you need to know. Origination of business is power, period. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong. Okay. 2, if you're a senior attorney, you need to empower your younger lawyers to sell. And what they're selling is not their brand per se, because they're not experienced enough to do that, but you're selling the firm. So if you give your younger lawyers the skill set, the training that Walter can provide, then you're empowering them to grow your firm, which benefits you. All right, off my soapbox.
What you know, let me say this, and this is from my heart. When you play professional sports, I played until I was 31. I never had a job. I never had a real job, right? I looked at my checking account, guys. I had 12 months to figure this out. And luckily, a business guy liked me. He's like, dude, you have to learn how to sell. And for me, that's a skill. And so just like shooting a basketball, I sought out coaches that taught me how to sell. Because I understood that, man, if I'm going to be successful, I have to have the right mindset. Y'all hear me clearly. Success is about having the right mindset and the right skill set. Michael Jordan had the right mindset and an incredible skill set. LeBron, right mindset, skill set. The right mindset, but my skill set was not as good as them. And that's why they had the amazing career. And that's why I had an average NBA career. But in business, I understood the same principle. I must have the right mindset, but I also have to have the right skill set. And I'm thankful that someone taught me how to sell. I developed the skill to sell. And in 3 years, I doubled my MBA income. So tomorrow, I'm going to email everyone about our Shark Mindset Selling program. It's available for firms. It's available for individuals. And what we do with Shark Mindset Selling is we help you with the mindset and the skill set. We're also going to give you some tools on how to be successful in selling because we're business people, right? And if you're going to be successful in business, you have to have the right mindset and the right skill set. So tomorrow, look for an email from me. And the subject is going to say Shark Mindset Selling, because if you need some help in acquiring more clients, we're going to help you with your mindset and your skill set. So the email will come out tomorrow. Finally, Let's talk about how to research and handle potential conflicts of interest. Let's take us on home, man. How do we handle these situations to make sure we keep our reputation squeaky clean? Beth, you want to go first? Ladies first.
Well, I just think it goes back to the basic understanding that there's a difference between ethical conflicts and business conflicts. So you really need to understand who your clients are. You need to understand who your potential clients are and be thoughtful about what you're doing. And we've already talked quite a bit at length about don't be suing your clients, right? And make sure you really understand the lay of the land. And that's how you will avoid actual ethical conflicts and business conflicts.
And you just hit a sore nerve, because I had some former agents who were attorneys who were snakes. I'm gonna say it one more time. I had several agents that represented me in my career who were attorneys, and honestly, when I look back on it, I caught them in multiple lies. And hopefully, they're on here getting some CLE credits today and getting straightened out. But Michael, any final thoughts on how to handle potential conflicts of interest as we begin to close?
Just be mindful of your client, as Beth said. I mean, a lot of it is just doing the right thing. Always don't mix business and money and opportunity for still not doing the right thing, because eventually it's your word, and if you're not truthful, you lack trust, and it just the domino falls from there. And that's the critical point of do what you can do, don't try and oversell yourself and get yourself into these conflicts. Very simple.
And to me, if you make a mistake, own it. I have more respect for that person to say, man, I'm sorry I screwed up, than someone who goes through this whole process of lying and covering it up. I trust you more if you just step up and say, man, my bad, my fault. And I'm like, man, I appreciate that, man. I respect you more. I've had many people come to me, make a mistake, apologize, and all of a sudden I love them even more. So it's not about being perfect, right? It's really about being accountable. Tom, any thoughts for us?
No, I think Colin really hit this early on. I mean, it takes some work, and you're necessarily not getting paid to do the conflict check, right? And it can be a pain in the butt, but do it right. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish on this. Don't take a case on the chance that maybe it's not going to ruffle any feathers. It's just not worth it. And it just shows a complete lack of caring for your client and breaks down all trust.
All right. Any final thoughts before I close this out today?
Well, there was one question, Walter, I think somebody put in about what can you do, describe looking good in front of the C-suite executive. I think to make sure that gets answered, what you said where you started is you're kind of, when you're developing business, you're always on. So you want to look professional. You want to look learned. You want to look like you've researched the company. You want to know your audience. And if you don't know your audience, you want to be very cautious and very conservative about your presentation and your commentary. I am shocked how many people make comments in front of me that are completely disrespectful and disparaging about others, about gender, race, sexuality. It shocks me. And I go to these conferences and I hear it. I have, people that are sitting in the airport and I hear it. And that is just going to kill any opportunity you have, and probably kills your firm as well, and the entire firm's reputation. You've got to be very careful, and you've got to, when you're making a presentation to executives, you've got to really put your best foot forward. I tell my lawyers, you must go to a mediation in a suit and tie. I don't care if the mediator's in a golf shirt or the other attorneys. I hire attorneys, and I want my attorneys to look like damn attorneys. And I think it sends a credibility. It sends a look. Now, others don't like that. Okay, well, if the other client of Travelers or Zurich or Allianz don't care, or they don't want that, that's fine. But Colin Height wants that. And if you don't do it, then again, you're not putting your best foot forward. I hate to say it, but you are kind of always on. You know, when you're standing at the bar at a conference, you are on. We are judging you. We are thinking about, do I want to work with this person? You know, and when you come knocking in 3 weeks and say, hey, can we go to lunch? And you were a jerk or saying something horrible at the bar, they don't even know it, but they ask for that work. And it's like, no, I'm just not going to return that call. I'll find an excuse why I'm too busy to meet with you, because what you said at that bar, thinking it was no big deal, and your lips were a little loosened up with the good bourbon. I remember that. And I will think about that, because I have to then answer to somebody higher up than me. And what if you do that and I recommend you and then you do that to my boss? So, you know, business development is a full-time job, frankly, in that sense. I mean, you are kind of always in front of a prospect and a client, and it will bite you in the keister if you do stupid stuff like that. And it's amazing how many people do stupid stuff like that.
And
Yeah,
Colin,
JD.
just like we tell our clients in a jury trial, the jury's always watching you. Same thing with us.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think, you know, as we close out, and man, we had an active audience today because we've run a little bit over and everybody stayed. So, but they must be really enjoying us today. But, you know, let me share something that I teach at every program that I do, even in coaching and consulting. When you're in the people business, like everyone on here today is, it's so important to be likable. Let me say that one more time. It is so important to be likable. Some people brighten up a room when they enter. Some people brighten up a room when they leave. You know, so nobody likes a cocky person. You know, no, it just, you know, something about a cocky person is just a turnoff. Now, we love confidence, right? But I believe confidence is arrogance under control. And I'll be honest, when I left sports and got into the business world, I was terrified to sit down with CEOs. I would get hired by these big companies and they would say, hey, Walter, the CEO wants to take you to dinner. Oh my goodness. Like, what if he asked me a question I can't answer? And I had these incredible insecurities, but I had never had a job. And so through the years, I began to read books. I began to get my own confidence going by coaching other clients. And eventually I was like, yeah, I'll sit down with the CEO. Absolutely. Sometimes I request the CEO and say, let's sit down and have a break some bread so I get a better feel for your solar company that's third in the world. And so I developed the confidence in basketball through hard work. Same thing in training and development. I've developed that confidence now. Literally, I can sit down with anyone toe to toe and have an intelligent conversation with millionaires, multimillionaires, and even billionaires. So confidence can grow, confidence can develop. But let me share my final thought. I believe smart law firms are training and development organizations at their core. I'm gonna say it one more time. I've had so many law firms bring us in to do trainings, whether it's teamwork, whether it's communication, whether it's presentation skills. I've had some firms that I thought were brilliant, like Walter, you're a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. I am. And it's a performance. Well, can you teach our attorneys how to communicate more effectively? Absolutely. I can teach them the power of the pause, right? I can teach them how to be a great storyteller. Could teach them how to frame up a message and be very efficient and tell it in a 5-minute version, or I can teach them how to stretch it out to a 15-minute version, right? And so it's all about the presentation of how you communicate. You guys are no different than me. You make money by running your mouth. Right? Somehow, some way, you make money by running your mouth, which is a skill. That's a skill set. And so your success is based on your mindset, rainmakers, but more importantly, your success is going to be based on your skill set. And if you can develop your mindset and your skill set, trust me, you're well on your way to being a rainmaker. Listen, I want to say thank you to Beth, Tom, Colin, Michael, and JD, Jeff. This was fun for me. I learned a whole lot myself, and I'm looking forward to doing more with Magna in the legal industry because Magna does a great job providing value. It's a value add, right? I mean, this is just a value add. We all got better today. We all got smarter today, and we're all ready to make it rain today. But my final thought is this: nothing happens in business until something is sold. I went from being scared to death when my basketball career ended to now I live in a country club with 6 billionaires. Only, I'm not going to name drop. I've been taught not to name drop. But it taught me that my success in being able to take care of my family had everything to do with me developing another skill set once my basketball career was over. So as your career develops, there's nothing more important than your mindset and most importantly, your skill set to be a rainmaker. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon. Check your email tomorrow. Shark Mindset Selling. I have some information that's on the way. See you guys soon.